for the Pack-A-Day Radio Show with Andy Herman on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook and on the free Odyssey app.
9 catches on the season for Rice as Mahomes rolls out and going deep, and it's caught at the 10-yard line. Mecole Hardman hauls it in.
Good morning, Packer fans. Welcome into the Pack-A-Day Radio Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wortz in for Andy Herman. Just one more day. Andy Herman returns tomorrow to the Pack-A-Day Radio Show. That highlight you just heard at the top of the hour, courtesy of CBS. That was Mecole Hardman back in the Super Bowl, catching a huge play from Patrick Mahomes. And Mecole Hardman, the reason why he is our highlight at the top of the hour, I want to talk about the newcomers to the Green Bay Packers today. And the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Open. If you want to text in, you can. If you want to call in, I can get you on the other side of the break for sure. But which Packer newcomer are you the most excited for or expect to have the biggest role for Green Bay in 2025? Now, this does not have to be a newly acquired free agent signing like we just saw with Mecole Hardman. Could be one of the rookies. It could be, an undrafted free agent if you want to make such a bold prediction there. But I want to talk about guys who were not on the team in 2024 and now going to be on the team in 2025, and talk about the expectations and maybe just all the potential that they might have in Green Bay. Hope you guys all had a great 4th of July weekend. Hope everyone was safe during that time. Hope everyone had a great time. If you enjoyed fireworks, great. If you enjoyed drone shows, great, I guess. I'm Team Firework. I'm sorry. I'm going to be there for the rest of my life probably as well. But there was a couple of great things going around in the Milwaukee area for sure. I want to say thank you to everyone who came out to Summerfest, saw us over there. That was also a great time. If you were able to get down there this weekend, Summerfest, great job over by the Hole-in-One Challenge. Lexus and the Fan Milwaukee were sponsoring that. That was a fun time to see people trying to do that. Didn't hear any news on whether or not someone actually got a hole-in-one, but I think we would have heard about it by now. So I don't think, better luck next year now. Thank you again to Summerfest for helping us out and hosting us over there. The Green Bay Packers, they have a tendency that newcomers are not really signed by Green Bay. Last offseason, we were spoiled a little bit by it. We saw Josh Jacobs come in. We saw Xavier McKinney come in via free agency. This isn't something that Green Bay traditionally does. And then this offseason, they definitely hit the brakes on it a little bit as well. They didn't see the big name free agent signings. I don't know if there were really any of the caliber of Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney out there for Green Bay to bring in, but there was definitely some names that people were trying to associate with Green Bay, whether it was going to be a corner or a wide receiver. Green Bay didn't get in on much of the action. They brought in two very high-profile ones, right? It was Aaron Banks. It was Nate Hobbs. Those are the two newest Green Bay Packers that were the highest profile Green Bay Packers to sign with the team. But they also had another tier that I think I associate Mecole Hardman with. Maybe the B tier of free agent signings. Mecole Hardman, Isaiah Simmons, also brought in to play some linebacker. Not a lot of new faces that are supposed to be jumping off the page for Green Bay in free agency. However, they did the exact opposite with the NFL draft, bringing in a wide receiver, Matthew Golden, in the first round. Savion Williams in the third round. Went offensive line even in the second round. The Green Bay Packers, maybe on the draft side, more exciting with the newcomers coming in to the roster in 2025. It is the Pack-A-Day Radio Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to talk to Dusty Evely of Acme Packing. He's going to join the show. We're going to see what Dusty Evely might think is the biggest newcomer or the most exciting newcomer to the Green Bay Packers in 2025. He's the film breakdown guy as well. We'll ask him a little bit about some of these rookies, who he's the most excited to see, and then also gauge his interest on maybe the more veteran free agent signings that the Green Bay Packers brought in as well. So I may have showed my hand at who I believe could be the most exciting and unique free agent or new Green Bay Packer in 2025 for Green Bay next season. And that is, in my opinion, Mecole Hardman. I'm really excited to see what Mecole Hardman can do in this offense, because I don't expect him to be probably within the top 3 wide receiver positions. He'd be lucky to be wide receiver 3 on the team. I think something goes wrong if he is wide receiver 3 on the team. He also then provides a huge boost on the special teams side. And I know some people might think, well, Keyshawn Nixon was already really good at those positions, whether it's returning kicks, returning punts, Jaden Reed returning punts as well. But those guys are too valuable to the team now to be a part of that unit, in my opinion. We hear every year how special teams is the most dangerous. The most injuries happen on special teams. The most problems happen on special teams. I don't think that there is enough risk to reward to have Jaden Reed or Keyshawn Nixon returning kicks and punts for the Green Bay Packers in 2025. I think having someone who can take up a roster spot as a valuable option at the wide receiver position, the kick return position, and the punt return position is going to be super huge and valuable for Green Bay in 2025. And Mecole Hardman, he doesn't have the numbers that jump off the page in the NFL, right? So Mecole Hardman, this is going to be his 7th season in the NFL now. Last year was a very slow year for Mecole Hardman. He played in 12 games last year. He had 12 catches, just 90 yards. After his first 3 seasons in Kansas City, his role has diminished a lot. In his first 3 seasons in Kansas City, he went 26 catches for 538 yards. That's a 20.7 average, by the way. 6 touchdowns. Second season, 41 catches, 560 yards, 4 touchdowns. 59 catches, 690 yards, 2 touchdowns. Those are his first 3 years. After that, his role completely diminished. 25 catches, 297 yards, 4 touchdowns. He has not caught a touchdown since 2022 now in the NFL. Why are you excited? Why are you excited for this at all? Well, he's utilized in the run game as well. He gets a handful of carries a year. He had a rushing touchdown last year. In 2022, he also had 2 rushing touchdowns. He's an end-around jet sweep guy, which we see Green Bay do all the time. This is an absolute scheme fit for Matt LaFleur. And if you want some sort of gadget-type player, you get that elite-level speed, someone who can take the top off the defense, and also can get around defenders if you're trying to do some sort of gadget jet sweep end around. It eliminates some dangerous plays for some valuable pieces on the Green Bay Packers. And that's why I'm really excited to see Mecole Hardman in a Green Bay Packer uniform. Now, full transparency, I could also see him not making the team. I don't think it would be a proper choice from Green Bay, but we're talking all this hype about Mecole Hardman, and there is a possibility he doesn't make the team. Green Bay has a seriously deep wide receiver room, whether it's returners like Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, or new guys like Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. And that brings me to my next point on who should be the most excited newcomer to the Green Bay Packers. Well, you can easily point to the rookie wide receivers. Matthew Golden last year, 58 catches, 987 yards in 16 games. He had 9 touchdowns. During that time as well, Texas was playing in high-profile games. They're playing in the SEC now. He did that against elite-level talent like Alabama, like Oklahoma. You name the big schools, he was playing against them in college now. And Matthew Golden, number 22 now, first time we've seen Green Bay go wide receiver since 2002. Everyone knows it already. This is a guy that I think Green Bay is going to let the offense work around him. They are going to put him in correct situations as well. Is he going to line up on the outside? Probably. Is he going to line up on the inside? Probably. He is really just a perfectly molded version of Jayden Reed. I think they're going to have very similar roles. And I hope that means they still find ways for Jayden Reed to be involved in the offense, because we were talking last week and we had Javon Alford and Bart Winkler both on the show saying the offense needs to be drawn up more for Jayden Reed. We saw really successful pieces and bits of Jayden Reed's career last season with Green Bay that really faded off towards the back end of last season. And I think a lot of people were excited, myself included, for what Jayden Reed could do with the offense. And then it kind of petered off at the end of the season. We didn't get to really get the full effect. But he led the NFL in fantasy points 2 different weeks last season. You know he can have an explosive day. He can go up and get the ball. He can take an end around and make a play happen. Jayden Reed, another guy people should be excited about, but Matthew Golden now is molded for what Green Bay is trying to do with that position, I think. So I do expect Jayden Reed to take a small step back, because Matthew Golden will get a lot more of those Jayden Reed reps this season with Green Bay. Now, as for Savion Williams, the other wide receiver Green Bay decided to take in the 2025 draft. This is a guy who, if you want to talk about gadget player, might have been the most gadgety player in the NFL draft. 60 catches, 611 yards, 6 touchdowns. He also had 51 rushing attempts, 322 yards, and 6 touchdowns. His scrimmage last season, he had 111 plays, 933 yards, 12 touchdowns. That's the math. He stayed at TCU all 5 years. 3rd-round pick. We haven't seen him a lot in any of the mandatory mini camps or OTAs. So that's why I struggled to get super excited over Savion Williams, because we don't know what we have yet. We don't know what Green Bay is working with at the NFL level with Savion Williams. Can he also be another guy that will be taking plays all over the field, whether he's lined up outside, slot, maybe even in the backfield to give Josh Jacobs a break? Yeah, I think that's fair as well. And if you are Matt LaFleur, who has been noted to be a very creative play caller, maybe that's the person you're most excited for with Green Bay. But I'm not quite there yet, because I haven't seen anything from Savion Williams at the NFL level. His college tape, electric. He's got amazing speed. He's a massive dude, and he can line up anywhere. It's another toy for Matt LaFleur to go with for this offense that I think is going to be very valuable at some point for Green Bay. I just don't know about 2025. Now, if we go to the defensive side, newcomers for Green Bay. There's not going to be a lot of them through the draft. They invested extremely heavily on the offensive side in the 2025 NFL draft last season. It took a long time until we saw a defensive player go off the board for Green Bay. But Nate Hobbs is replacing, whether it's Keyshawn Nixon's job or Jair Alexander's job, he is the high-profile newcomer for Green Bay on the defensive side of things. Now, Nate Hobbs, his career so far. Nate Hobbs last season with the Raiders, 49 tackles. He had 1 pick. His PFF grade, pretty middle of the road. Nothing too exciting for Nate Hobbs. But over the years, he has shown he can line up everywhere. He's had a little bit of an injury problem over the past couple of seasons. The last 3 years, he's never played more than 13 games. But I think we're kind of used to that at this point with the cornerback position in Green Bay, where a guy that you're looking at the top part of the depth chart, and he's not there, not available. Jair Alexander. The other player I'm really excited to see on the defensive side is Isaiah Simmons. And Isaiah Simmons was the 8th overall pick back in 2020. A lot of excitement for him, and everyone thought that he was going to be this freak athlete coming out when Arizona drafted him. And he kind of didn't pan out. He's bounced around now to Arizona and New York. He's going to be on Green Bay for his 6th season, which will be now his 3rd team in 6 seasons. But he's had some exciting flashes over the years now. Last year was the first year he didn't record a sack. He did play all 17 games. In fact, he's never missed a game in his NFL career yet. He's only played the max number of games all year. He's a guy that, if you line him up in a linebacker position, he can get you 100 tackles. He can create a turnover. He can be a guy that can make a game-changing play. But he hasn't really had that opportunity in New York, and they haven't really found a correct role for him. So now with Green Bay, I think they have their linebacking core all locked up. It's going to be Cooper. It's going to be Quay Walker on the interior side of things. And now we're going to see where they can float Isaiah Simmons around, who they can bring Isaiah Simmons in to give a break, because quite frankly, maybe he comes in for one of those interior offensive linemen, interior linebackers. Maybe he comes in on the outside and can rush on the edge a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he's covering tight ends in the slot position. He has that freak athlete ability. There are plenty of newcomers coming to Green Bay that I think you could all have near the top part of your list of who you are the most excited to see for the Green Bay Packers heading into 2025. Coming up, we're going to talk to Dusty Evely, Acme Packing Company. He is the film guy. We'll ask him on what he thought the Green Bay Packers did well in the offseason. Maybe a newcomer or two that we can see him being excited for the Green Bay Packers as well. It is the Pack a Day Radio Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back to the Pack-A-Day Radio Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wortz in for Andy Herman. Andy returns tomorrow to the Pack-A-Day Radio Show. Hey, listen to the Fan for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see the one and only. I'm sorry, is this English that we just got written right here? Adam Sandler and his You're My Best Friend tour live Sunday, October 5th at Pfizer Forum. Visit thefanmilwaukee.com for your chance to register to win a pair of tickets as well. Brandon Woodruff, what a great return that was to the mound yesterday after a 2-year break, right? Forbes Sports Brewers writer Drew Wagner is going to tell us all about it today on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis, presented by Verizon, #1 network in Milwaukee. That's at 10 as well today. We will see the Mason Crosby Show immediately after the Pack-A-Day Radio Show. Joining the Pack-A-Day Radio Show now live on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law Offices. It is of Acme Packing Company. Dusty Evely joining the show. Dusty, hopefully you had a great 4th of July, my friend. I'm excited to get to talk to you because everyone's got nothing but high things to say about you, but we've never actually talked on a radio show together about the Green Bay Packers. So how are we doing today, Dusty?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I talked to you briefly. You're like, hey, get ready for Andy. Doing Andy's dirty work here.
Yeah, exactly.
No, excited to talk to you, man. Yeah, great weekend. Nothing but optimism for the Packers, dude. I'm hyped to be here.
Yeah, Dusty Evely, follow him on Twitter at Dusty Evely, joining the Pack-A-Day Radio Show now. And I was in all last week, too, because Andy thought, what would be the most amazing thing to do on the 4th of July? Get out of America. Let's go to Spain, and let's enjoy it over there. So Andy returns tomorrow. I believe he's getting in today. It'll be great to see him again and have him back. But last week, a lot of the themes revolved around expectations and pressure with the Green Bay Packers. And we really, basically, it would hone in on Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love are being surrounded by so many expectations and so much pressure heading into 2025 based on, hey, this is year 3. Like, this is the year to do it. You've been in this system now, and it's really going to have a lot more eyeballs on you this season, specifically compared to the last few. Do you agree with that this is like maybe the most pressure-packed year we've seen for Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur both at the same time in 2025?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think last year, looking back, the season as a whole was different because you get the ebbs and flows, you get the injury, and so you kind of write some of that stuff off. But I mean, going into last year, it was very much they came off, they had the big win against the Cowboys in the playoffs and then just narrowly lost to the Niners that next week there. And so that was, they're ready to take the step. And so I think last offseason, we really did see a pretty big push in terms of, all right, this is the year, man. Love seems like the guy. He took that step down the last half of the season. It didn't quite work out that way. And again, some of that now we can write off as, well, there was injuries and, all of the receivers didn't take a step and all that. But expectations were high last year. I'd say they're higher this year just because, the excuses are gone now. Like, we had those built-in excuses. You can't use those same every single year. We got the wide receivers are another year removed. Hopefully, with like Reed going into year 3 here, you're hoping he kind of rebounds a little bit from what that is. So I'd say as far as the pressure on them, I think the pressure for me personally, I think that the pressure feels more on Love than LaFleur. I think part of that's what LaFleur had to do with when Willis came in and kind of what he showed, like the flexibility he showed there. But also, I mean, there's always going to be more pressure on the quarterback, I think. So I think probably more pressure on Love than LaFleur. If there's a failure, I think maybe people start lobbing the blame a little bit more at Love. He's making a little more money. That's kind of what happens. But I do feel like there's a lot of pressure on the offense this year.
Yeah, and you talked about the excuses. If you took a shot for every time you heard the Packers were the youngest team in the NFL, you would have been drunk every Sunday on TV based on the broadcast. Mm-hmm. That was the number one excuse, it felt like. And, Matt LaFleur commented on that youth, but now he says it's translated into experience, and the Packers are more of a traditional draft and develop through the organization. They're, that offseason, 2 off seasons ago now, is very, out of left field from Green Bay, bringing in 2 high-profile guys like a McKinney and like a Josh Jacobs, one on each side of the ball. It's not something we're traditionally seeing from Green Bay. How did you feel the Packers did this offseason? You don't have to necessarily compare it to 2 off seasons ago, But just looking back at some of the moves, whether it is bringing in Banks or Hobbs or how they attack the NFL draft, if you wanted to grade it or put it on a scale of 1 to 10, whatever you feel is easiest, the Green Bay Packers this past offseason, how did you think they approached it, and how do you think they attacked it this year, Dusty?
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's like you said, it's different than the kind of the flashy stuff. And the other one, you always go back to is the Smith and Adrian Amos, where you're like, all right, man, we're getting some high price guys here. And obviously Banks was a lot of money, but this to me, this is how you use free agency. I mean, you can get the flashy names. If a guy like Xavier McKinney falls to you, you can take the swing at that. You take a swing at that. Like, that's perfectly fine. But I think they have something they want to do with the offensive line. They know they need to be shored up a little bit. So you bring in Banks. Maybe a slight overpay, but he's the body type they're looking for inside there. And then you don't have to reach. I mean, if they want to do, they did Belton in the draft. If they don't do Banks in free agency, maybe they take a guard or a tackle in round one. Maybe they double down at that position a little bit more. So I think they used free agency as this. We're plugging some holes, some pretty obvious holes that we have that we don't have to reach. And I like the addition of Hobbs. When I watched his tape, man, I was just over the moon watching that. That dude is so much fun to watch. So big caveat, if he stays healthy, he could be awesome. But I mean, those moves like that you make those in free agency. So you're not like, all right, man, we gotta reach. We gotta take a corner in round one or something. So I liked it. I mean, I thought the draft was awesome in terms of what they did. There's some question marks there. I'm iffy on Savion Williams a little bit. I'm excited about his potential, but I don't know. I'm not sure what he could be. But man, I'm hyped for those first two picks, Matthew Golden and Belton. I'm over the moon. I mean, if Belton, my mind, Belton may slots in at right guard. I think is where they hope he wins that spot. And then you've got just nothing but beef on the inside of that line and dudes that can move and that power running game they're trying to move to. So it seems like what they did kind of gives them flexibility. It fixes holes, but it also just kind of gives them, kind of helps them lean into what they want to do, provided everyone's healthy. So I'm big fan of this offseason.
Do you think that Belton, they want to fit in as early as possible, even up to this season, Dusty? Because I think if that's the case, then maybe a lot of people were not sure of this, but their biggest, the room they wanted to improve the most was the offensive line from last year into this season, and I didn't even think it was all that bad last year, Dusty.
Like, it wasn't bad, but if you watch it, like the run game particularly, like the pass pro, they were generally fine at. They had some flubs here and there, for the most part, fine at pass pro. The run game, which they base a lot of play action and stuff off of that, they had a hard time. Even the games that were good, that was Josh Jacobs a lot of times making them right. The only game I remember them like dominating up front was that Seahawks game, where you would look, and by the time Josh Jacobs is ready to hit the line, dudes are 5 yards down the field. For the most time, like they're, especially against like the better defenses, no movement up front. Like they held their own, but there's no movement up front. And then Josh Jacobs is looking for a crease. He's got to make something after contact at the line. Like it's hard to live that way. And Jacobs made them right. You can't count on that next year. You can't count on Jacobs being healthy next year. You can't count on every running back doing that. So I think the line, as far as what they want to do, what they need to do, they need more movement up front with just their line, and they had a hard time doing that. So I mean, my thought would be, I think obviously you want your rookies starting if you can get them going year one every single time. Based on how they've done their offensive line in the past, I don't know if he will, but I think they're going to give him every opportunity to win. And just what he did in college, I don't know if he's got the feet to play left tackle in the league. That's what he played in college. I think they want him to win that right guard position. I think they're going to give him every opportunity to do so. So who knows if that's the way it lands, but I do think that's the way that they're going to want to go with it.
Dusty Evely joining the Pack a Day radio show. Tommy Wortz in for Andy Herman. Follow Dusty on Twitter at Dusty Evely. I'm now all of the way invested in this offensive line talk here, and I didn't think I was going to. But the next question, after we're talking about young offensive linemen trying to stand out on the offensive line, you got to go talk about Jordan Morgan. And this is a guy who was the first-round pick 2 seasons ago now for Green Bay. They drafted him on his versatility, and everyone was a little shocked, I think, at the pick when Jordan Morgan was selected. And then he's plagued with injuries in year one as a rookie. I've talked about this with Andy and with a few others on the station here, that we are sharpieing in people for their positions on Green Bay into next year, right? Jordan Love, Sharpie. He's going to be the quarterback. Yep. I think you can Sharpie Jordan Morgan on the offensive line, but I have no idea where you write that on the offensive line, whether it is the left tackle spot or the right guard spot. If Jordan Morgan, if you have to pencil him in somewhere on the offensive line, are you leaning more that he is going to be the starting left tackle or he will be the starting right guard? Because, Dusty, quite frankly, I don't think there's any way he's not going to start at some position on the offensive line. I think Green Bay wants to see what they have, and they expect him to be ready for 2025.
Yeah, I mean, my hope would be left tackle. Like I said, I think what they want to do the interior of the offensive line is they want to add big dudes who can move. Morgan can move, but like I don't want to say he's light, but like for what they want to do on the interior of the line, like he's kind of a smaller dude. So right guard, I thought right guard last year was like that's what they wanted to do, and I think that's what they wanted to do, and he didn't quite win it outright, and then he had the injuries and all that stuff. But based on the Belton pick, and again, and that's basically just me. I don't see him at left tackle, and they want more beef in the middle. I think they want Morgan to win left tackle. The curveball I'm going to throw in here that I've been peddling my little pet project this whole offseason has been Elton Jenkins. Okay, they don't know if they're going to sign him to another deal. They don't really sign linemen to the third year. He's holding out. You've got all that stuff. You've had the Zach Tom to center stuff for a while. Zach Tom, tremendous right tackle. Wouldn't move him to center unless you have to. Now, however, if they trade Elton Jenkins and you want to slot Zach Tom, say, listen, we're going to pay you right tackle money. We give you your extension. We're going to pay you right tackle money. Don't worry about the money. We got you. You play center. Jordan Morgan is going to be our right tackle. Like that's my little, I don't think it would happen, but it could potentially happen depending on how the Elton Jenkins stuff slides out. So I think they want left tackle, would be fine with right guard, and then like dark horse right tackle potentially.
Do you think that you can guarantee Jordan Morgan will be on the starting five at some position in 2025?
I would have said that, but I don't know. I mean, because there was talk. I don't know that I've seen anything about it since then. But 2 weeks ago, there was talk of they were talking about Rasheed Walker about an extension. Now there was no numbers on that whatsoever. So like, was that an extension in the way they kind of gave Yash Nyman like that kind of mini extension where it was just kind of you're our swing tackle? Like, is that the thing or not? But I mean, you're looking a little slim on stuff here. So I in terms of positions, if Belton, I would say. I wouldn't be shocked if this year starts off and Morgan's your starting right guard, Rasheed Walker starting left tackle, but I think they want Belton in there just due to the size stuff. So I would hope. I really like Jordan Morgan. I liked him in college. I'm a big horror movie guy, and he's a big horror movie guy. So like I feel like I'm a little biased in that respect. I would love for him to win a spot. At this point, the room's just kind of a little weird, a little jumbled. I don't know that I can guarantee that he's going to be. I think they want him to, but sure. There's not a clean fit at this point, I don't think, unless he wins left tackle outright.
And they saw how terrible the depth was when Philadelphia exposed it in the last week in the playoff matchup of the wild card round, and they obviously attacked that need, and it seems like, in hindsight, that was what Green Bay wanted to get better at, the offensive line, more than anything else. The wide receivers and the offensive line, their offense, they wanted to revamp it. They wanted to copy Philadelphia a little bit more. They built on the trenches on both sides, and it's exactly what they attacked this offseason. Dusty Evely of the Acme Packing Company joining the Pack a Day radio show. Dusty, today what we've been talking about is newcomers for Green Bay. And who do you think could play either the biggest role or be the most exciting piece to Green Bay, whether it is through the NFL draft or through free agency? I'm pretty high on Mecole Hardman, and the reason why I am is because I just think that his value in being one roster spot who can be a number 4, number 5 wide receiver and also be your primary return guy is a lot more valuable to Green Bay than maybe even they think right now because, quite frankly, Keyshawn Nixon, he's great at returning kicks. If he's going to be cornerback 1, I don't want him returning kicks. And the same with Jaden Reed. I think that he can be really the most explosive piece on the offensive side for Green Bay if they drew it a little more up friendly for him. And I don't want him returning punts. So Mecole Hardman is a guy that I'm really high on being a newcomer for the Green Bay Packers. And I also admitted he could also not make the team, and I would totally not be surprised by that either. But who's a guy, you're the film guy, right, Dusty? Who's a guy who was not on the Green Bay Packers last season that you're really excited to see be a part of the team in 2025? Again, whether it's a draft pick or a newly acquired player, who's that guy that you think could be someone for Green Bay in 2025 that was not there in 2024?
mean, I will just go just because, I mean, first round pick, it's obvious. I'm with Matthew Golden. Like, I love Matthew Golden. And that was very much he's not the Packers type, but I think he does good things in this offense. He does things they need him to do. We'll see what happens once he starts playing, but doesn't drop a lot of balls. I think he's versatile. Like, he's a good route runner on top of just being blazing fast. Blocking stuff's a little tricky. That's tricky with every rookie guy. I think projecting a rookie to come in and be like, that's my guy can be tough, especially with receivers, but we've seen receivers come in and be good from day one. So I think just based on, I think what they're going to ask him to do, especially out of the gate early on, what he can be in this offense, just his skill set, I think Golden's going to be huge for this receiving room. And I think it can open up a lot of other people. I mean, if he is, I know the whole wide receiver one, blah, 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 but if he can step in and be wide receiver one, at least like the guy that like wins on the outside, 'cause I think he can, that frees up a lot of guys to do other stuff. And then I think, I'm hoping for a bounce back from Wicks. Reed certainly had some issues last year, but I think that opens up Reed to do. If Golden wasn't there, I think you're asking Reed to do stuff that he maybe is not the best at. With Golden in the building, I think you can free up Reed to do Jaden Reed things. So I think that one's the other one I'll just throw in is I don't know how much he's going to hit on the field. Colin Oliver, like his college tape he's undersized. So I don't know how he fits up against the run, anything like that, but he's a demon on pass rush downs. Just like you can't like blurry fast. Like you can't touch him. He's got a bunch of moves. He's got inside, outside, like just a fast dude. So that's a guy who on like 3rd and 7, I'm just all right. Where's Colin Oliver, man? Because I can't wait to see what that guy does.
Do you think that he could be, put into those positions early in 2025, Colin Oliver? That is because edge rushing for Green Bay, no one really standing out, right? Rashawn Gary has had super high expectations, and by the end of the year, somehow he ends up with 8 sacks, and it's the most quiet 7 to 8 sacks you've ever seen in a season. And obviously, Lucas Van Ness has probably been, on the underwhelming side for his first 2 seasons. Do you think that does free up opportunities to see more Colin Oliver early in 2025 for Green Bay?
Yeah, I mean, they've always kind of rotated their rushers. I think that's what they want to do. I think, with him and Sorrell in the building, I think Sorrell's kind of, he's small, but he's a little bigger, so you can play him some early down stuff. But I think they want to rotate their guys anyway. And 3rd and long, I mean, I think my guess would be Colin Oliver out the gate is special teams guy, and then he's going to get, week 1, he maybe gets like 5 or 6 snaps for you on defense, but it's 3rd and 7, it's 3rd and 8. He's designated pass rusher. Like that would not shock me in the least if he from day one is your situational pass rusher. We'll figure out what else you do later, but we're going to try to get you, 6 to 10 snaps a week, and then we'll try to expand that. That seems like his role early on.
How excited are you to see Jeff Hafley's defense again? They didn't attack a lot of needs or not necessarily needs, but they didn't attack building up that defense all that much for Green Bay standards. They're going to bring back a lot of the same front 4. Their linebackers seem pretty shored up. They like the safeties, and they brought in one corner and let one leave as well this offseason. But it seems like Green Bay is putting a lot more trust, a lot more faith in Jeff Hafley in year 2 of the defense. Now, how excited are you to see Jeff Hafley's defense for year 2 in Green Bay?
Dude, I'm so excited. That was, watching him, I watched him at BC. I watched him at Ohio State and watched him at BC. And watching those defenses and, like, I know what he wants to do at his core. I watched coaching clinics and stuff with him. What he wants to do at his core. And you watch what he's doing later years at BC, he wasn't doing that. It's because he didn't have the guys. So, like, when they hired him, I was like, this could be cool. Like, he is shown to be versatile. He can play to the strengths of his players. What he did down the stretch, like he kind of was feeling his guys out early, what you can do, all that stuff. What he did down the stretch of the season where he really leaned into what do my guys do well? What can I do with these guys here? And he's doing all the sim pressure stuff, especially once Edge Cooper was in there a little more. You're able to get him unlocked a little bit more. The versatility that they had up front, the versatility on the back end. I'm excited to see what he does with, hopefully a fully healthy Evan Williams, with Xavier McKinney. Got another year with Bullard, who I really was high on out of the draft. And then, he started one game, dude, but Oladapo looked tremendous in that Bears game. So if you get these where the league might be going defensively, which I wouldn't have trusted Joe Barry to do, which is like these 3 safety looks and you can roll and rotate, disguise coverages a little bit more. I wouldn't be shocked if Hafley runs into that stuff. Like he seems like a very smart. The thing on him coming out was good teacher, smart guy, listens to his players. That was all on display this past year. Like they were running a bunch of different stuff and everyone knew where they were supposed to be. So year 2, we got, again, hopefully some health with Evan Williams, all of that. We got say a versatile, but I don't know how much they're going to use him in that versatility role of Isaiah Simmons. You got year 2 of Edge Cooper. Hopefully the line, hopefully the Kenny Clark toe injury was what was kind of hindering him a little bit. I'm so high on the halfway defense, man, especially back half of the season. Like this is gonna, I think he's gonna be, I think he's a real one, man. I think he's gonna be really, really good. I think this could be a very, very good and very fun defense.
Dusty Evely joining the Pack-A-Day radio show. Tommy Wortz in for Andy Herman. Follow Dusty on Twitter at Dusty Evely. Dusty, we're wrapping things up here. Looking at the rest of the NFC North, right? And the Detroit Lions lose both their coordinators. We got a brand new head coach. One of them, a former Detroit Lions coordinator in Chicago. And Minnesota is rocking with a new quarterback, brand new to the NFL for the first time in quite some time as well. When you compare the Green Bay Packers to the rest of the NFC North, and when you look at what the expectations are for the rest of the NFC North, I don't think we're going to have another season of 3 teams winning, 12 games for the NFC North again. It seems like a division that is prompted to take a step back. Where do you think Green Bay falls in the NFC North, just on your first predictions for 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got a good shot to win it. I think the Vikings, I really like the Viking coaching staff. Obviously, you've got, Kevin O'Connell, a great head coach, great offensive mind, and then Flores on the defensive side. Flores has a thing where, like, he will do new chaotic things every year, and by the end of the year it's kind of been figured out a bit, even as much as he tries to mix it up. So I think we'll get some of that. I don't really like JJ McCarthy that much, but I do think in the offensive system I think he'll be fine. I mean, the Bears have won the offseason, but I expect them to not be very good. That's beyond I mean, listen, beyond the first time head coach, right? Ben Johnson's there. I think his offensive coordinator, I think is like 27-year-old tight end coach from the Broncos,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's a super young staff. This was something Ollie Connolly has talked about, where, like, can't remember what staff it was recently, that was this like almost like superstar level. No, it wasn't. No, it was the Broncos. It was when Hackett went over there. I guess not superstar level, but it was first time head coach, and then he hired a bunch of dudes that, like, he liked and he knew, but they were all young and it was their first time doing everything. And some of that was on Hackett, but that was a disaster because it was everyone's first year, and that's kind of how some of that stuff feels. Like that could go with the Bears. Maybe they'll be good eventually. I don't know if Ben Johnson's going to be a good head coach. We'll figure that out. That's different from an OC. But I think I don't say step back, but they won 5 games last year. That feels about right this year. Maybe they win 6, 7. I don't think they're very good. And I do think the Lions, I mean, what I've heard about the Lions is Dan Campbell had way more to do with the offense than a lot of people know. Ben Johnson was obviously play caller, like architect of a lot of that stuff. But I think Dan Campbell is a much better offensive mind than a lot of people understand. I think the defense takes a step back. And I think the offense is good, but not great. Because I do think Campbell's good, but there's always that adjustment period when you have to do that. I can't remember their offensive coordinator. I think he's done it in the league before, but he was I think D2 college recently, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they take a step back. So I think it's there for the Packers to take. Like you said, I still think it's a good competitive division. Like I think those 3 teams will be good. I think the Bears will be not about good, like more competent than they were last year, I think.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't think we're getting like, oh, these guys are all winning 13, 14 games. I think it's the Packers to take. But I do think that battle at the top is going to the end, and then the Bears will be kind of hanging around there for a little bit, probably.
Dusty Evely joined Pack-A-Day radio show. Tommy Wortz in for Andy Herman. Dusty, thank you so much for popping on today. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to direct the people towards before I head you out of here?
No, I'm over at Acme Packing Company. I got something coming up this week. We're doing top 10 plays of the year. So I just wrote up, I think it's hitting on the 10th. So in a few days here, the big Jaden Reed pass, the 53-yarder against the Rams that was thrown into
that had no business being caught. No business
being thrown, no business being completed. So I just wrote that up, and I've got some other stuff I'm working on that I've got a vision for the offenses next year. So I'm stealing plays from around the league. So those are popping up here and there as well. But that's over on all in Acme Packing Company, and then Wednesdays Pack-A-Day with Sarah Kelleher and Steve Perhatch.
Very nice. Dusty, thank you so much for jumping on. We'll have to do this again. Maybe when Andy's off again, we give you another call. But I don't know. Now we're getting into it. I mean, it's been kind of a slow summer right now. We're in the doldrums Andy Herman likes to talk about. But, pretty soon, I mean, there's a football game at the end of this month. The last day of July will be the Hall of Fame game. Super excited. Cannot wait. Dusty, thank you so much, my friend.
Tommy, good to talk to you, man.
Very nice. There he is, Dusty Evely over at Acme Packing Company. You can follow him on Twitter at Dusty Evely. Coming up on the other side, we'll get to our Potawatomi Sportsbook final thought of the day. It is the Pack-A-Day Radio Show live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back to the Pack-A-Day Radio Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wortz in for Andy Herman. He returns tomorrow to the Pack-A-Day Radio Show. So for those who are sad, I'm sorry. For those who are happy, you're welcome. I just told you Andy Herman will be back tomorrow on the Pack-A-Day Radio Show. Sarah Kelleher going to join the program. Excited to talk with her again to talk about this Green Bay Packers off-season, what we can expect in 2025. Just been gathering a lot of opinions here over the last 5 days or so while Andy Herman is out. And again, Nicolay Lothan talking text line still open here at the back end, 414-677-1250, the number to join the program. What newcomer are you excited to see in 2025 for the Green Bay Packers? And Dusty Evely just joined us from the Acme Packing Company. Follow him on Twitter at Dusty Evely. He says Matthew Golden. And I understand the excitement around Matthew Golden, and I was on this station live when it happened, showing how excited I was for Matthew Golden to be a Green Bay Packer. I think there is value in Matthew Golden coming into Green Bay. I do wonder if he is going to be wide receiver number one off the jump for the Packers. I could see a scenario where he is not, but he's still getting first team reps, obviously. And I do think that there is some conflict with his play style and some of the other play styles of the other Green Bay Packers wide receivers. Again, newcomer Savion Williams. I don't know. There's some gadget type to Matthew Golden. If he can win on the outside, Green Bay's got their guy. That's who everyone wants to see be winning on the outside a lot more, is Matthew Golden, because it felt like last year that was one of the bigger flaws with the Green Bay Packers wide receiving room, is that there really wasn't anyone who can go beat you on the outside, run past a wide receiver, find a way, or a cornerback, and find a way to get open for this Green Bay Packer team. That's what we'd like to see out of Matthew Golden. I think all the fans can agree that if he can provide that, then yes, he is the most exciting newcomer for the Green Bay Packers. But there is value, like I thought, in Mecole Hardman and what he can provide to this team. Maybe he can be a guy who can show you he can take the top off of defense. He has the elite level speed. Maybe on certain packages, he's the guy coming in to beat people. You remember when Green Bay posted that highlight of training camp, or of OTAs rather, where Mecole Hardman on 4th and forever ended up being the guy to hit the 70-yard touchdown pass? I think he can be that guy on certain packages in the offense. By no means do I expect him to be running out there with the ones, but I do think that there is some value in what Mecole Hardman can play on this offense based on his elite level speed, his ability to make people miss, and what he can bring on the special team side of things as well. Let's get to our Potawatomi Sportsbook final thought of the day.
You got to do some smart thinking.
It's time for Andy Herman's final thought of the day.
What are you thinking?
Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
What the hell were you thinking?
You're listening to the Pack-A-Day radio show on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan.
Potawatomi Sportsbook final thought of the day here on Pack-A-Day radio. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to fill in, by the way, for Andy Herman during this stretch. It's been a fun time. Had some great, awesome guests. You can go back, listen on the Odyssey app. We've had Mitch Thunder Nellis, Ryan Horvat, Javon Alford. He's always a fun listen. Bart Winkler was on last show on Thursday. We didn't have a show on Friday. And, of course, Dusty Evely today. But my final thought of the day is that it's really the first time in a few years now that the Green Bay Packers are not relying on a newcomer this season. You talk about last year. Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney were high-profile free agency signings. These were guys that everyone was high on when they were brought in to Green Bay because they knew and they were established players in the NFL already. 2 seasons ago, it's Jordan Love's first season as the starting quarterback in Green Bay. Again, relying very heavily on a newcomer, someone that hasn't been in the offense on a regular basis. He had some reps, obviously, and he's been with the team for 3 years prior. But again, a newcomer to the starting side of the offense. This year, whether it is Matthew Golden or, on the defensive side, one of the edge rushers you might be excited for, it's the first time in a while they're not relying on a newcomer. And that's why I think it's very interesting to hear who you think the newest member of the Green Bay Packers will be more valuable in 2025 than who they are replacing from 2024. Wide receiver is a great option, absolutely. Defensively, maybe you think it's Nate Hobbs, and he got paid too. Perhaps it's the offensive line, like Dusty Evely was talking so highly of. It's not really relying a lot on a newcomer this year, as we are to the typical Green Bay Packers fashion of drafting and developing within the organization. That's going to do it for us here on the Pack-A-Day radio show. Coming up next, it'll be the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee, with Mitch Thunder Nellis. Drew Wagner going to hop on the show at 10 a.m. I mean, Brandon Woodruff yesterday. That's got to be a topic. It's exciting to see him back after 600, and I feel like I saw 10 different reports on how many days it was. 620, 650, 680, Whatever it was, he returned for the first time since 2023. It's going to be a massive topic of conversation on the Mason Crosby Show. Excited to be there for that. I'll be producing that show. Mason Crosby, Mitch Thunder Nellis up next here after the Pack-A-Day Radio Show. Live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, go, Pack, go.